Journey to Lemora, Chapter 7, Dreamwalker. Do what? Amber breathed in a dazed voice. She had finally regained consciousness, and it slowly dawned on her where she was. Put me down. Nick sat her down and looked away, blushing. She looked around the cave, from me to Nick to Anu. She opened her mouth to scream again, but Nick covered it with his hand. Troublesome, Anu growled at Amber, his long shaggy tail swishing side to side irritably. It's okay. This is Anu. He's a friend, I explained quickly. Amber's face was bright red, and she smacked Nick's hand away. He's achoo! Amber sneezed violently and gasped. A giant talking cat? He's the guardian of this place. Try not to insult him and we might survive this, Nick whispered to Amber. To their surprise, Anu let out a hearty laugh. You two do not possess a key. However, you may not be completely useless. We train at first light, Anu announced with a playful growl, grinning as he rested his massive head on his paws. It finally hit me just how tired I was. My whole body ached. We left our world only a few hours ago, but it felt like so much longer. Had Dad and Lisa returned home yet, only to find the house empty? I felt a sudden pang of guilt. I was so sure about coming here to find my mother, but I had no idea the danger I put myself in, the danger I put Amber and Nick into. Maybe I could talk them into going back without me, but then I had no idea how to contact the Sanctum Witch Amani again. Amber changed into warmer clothes, and we all slipped into our sleeping bags around the magic flame. The glow of it gave me comfort, despite the eerie shadows thrown across the icy cave walls. I drifted into a deep sleep and began to dream. My mother was walking through a city made of snow and stone, wearing a thick, dark cloak made of heavy furs. I could see her breath as she panted up the slope, and I shivered from the chill in the air. Dozens of small, fluffy cats bounded through the snowdrifts, unbothered by the cold. As Catherine passed, one of the cats morphed itself into a human child, clothed in furs, grinning broadly. The cat child waved and greeted her as an old friend. She smiled and waved back, and continued to hike up the trail of steep steps which led to a small temple. Once inside the drafty shelter, she knelt as if to pray, and pulled out her journal. She tore out a page at the end and began to write. I couldn't make out the words, but I saw her fold and stash the note beneath a loose stone. A horn sounded in the distance, and screams erupted from the town. They are here! I woke in a daze, the sight of my mother in the temple fading from my consciousness. A dim light from the entrance of the cave peeked through the dark, and I looked around to see Amber was awake too. I kept hoping I'd wake up in my bed at home, but we're still here. This is really happening, Amber murmured, her sleeping bag draped around her shoulders. She dug through her bag and pulled out her cell phone. I'm sorry, Amber. Really, this was my journey and I dragged you into it. I promise I'll find a way to get you back home again. Nick too, I said sincerely, but she just glared. And what, am I just supposed to leave you here in this frozen wasteland? You'd better find a way for all of us to get home. My phone doesn't even work out here, she snapped, tossing her phone back into her bag. If it did, that'd be one heck of a service plan, I muttered under my breath. Nick stirred and finally woke up, and I noticed Anu's massive form was nowhere to be seen. My stomach let out a low grumble, and I dug into my bag. I grabbed a granola bar for myself and the others, thankful we had the sense to bring some food with us. There was no telling how long we would be in this other world, so we had to be careful not to eat it all at once. I considered telling Amber and Nick about my dream, but then decided against it. The silhouette of Anu emerged in the entrance, and I knew it was time to leave. The three of us finished our food and packed our things to follow him out of the cave. The storm seemed to have finally passed outside, and the sunlight was blinding on the snow-covered ground. Come, we have much ground to cover while the sun is in our favor. Our training will begin at the summit, at the Temple of Rashtar. Anu's voice rang in our minds. We followed the beast for miles through the snow-covered rifts and steep steps. Twice Amber fell, though she had the lightest backpack of the three of us. Nick found a hefty branch for her to climb with, and we continued our ascent. The higher we climbed, the colder the breeze and more lightheaded we became. I pulled my hood over my head, thankful my army green bomber jacket was mostly windproof. We finally reached the summit, but there was no temple in sight. Onyekwe pawed at the ground with his massive claws, digging up a stone column. The column had rough runic symbols carved into it, not unlike the ones on the door that brought us here. This is all that remains of the most sacred place to my people. Rashtar is nothing but a ruin now. However, the power remains. This spot is the closest to the conjunction between the sacred realm and the astral plane on Lemora in Rishmar Mountains. In other words, where magic is formed. Every realm has at least one location like this one, where mages and guardians like us once met to train in the ways of magic. Before you can do that, you must learn the basic principles. There are 6 kingdoms and 7 different schools of magic or elements. The elements are wood, air, fire, water, body, spirit, and light. There is one other magic, shadow, which is taboo to guardians. Mages trained in each school, however, they do not obtain the same level of magic as a guardian. A guardian is born to each kingdom with a great affinity to their element and granted a vessel of power known as the keys of the eternal sanctum. The guardian's duty is to maintain balance in the world between the elements and the people. If the guardian dies, a new one is born, thus keeping the balance between the elements. I believe you are the next guardians. Your coming here was no accident. Are you sure? I only just found this key. How can I be a guardian? I asked with a billow of frost from my breath. Catty, you have the key of spirit, or the Dreamwalker. You may experience dreams which feel real, with sensations of all the senses. You are projecting your spirit into the veil of space and time. These visions are real. Your mother, Catherine, was the previous guardian of the spirit key, and it has been passed on to you, Anu said as he looked solemnly into my eyes. My dream of Mom really happened, just as hers in her journals did. I dreamt of her recently. Maybe it's a sign she's still alive somewhere. The sooner I learned how to use my powers, the better. I also feel a strong energy from the two of you, Anya confirmed, facing both Amber and Nick. We shall see if you possess any magical talent, or which elemental affinity you will possess. It is strange the Sanctum Witch would bring you to Lemora. Amani has only ever let guardians through the Eternal Sanctum before. My key was already in our world when I found it, I interrupted. How could my mom have left and it still be there? It doesn't make sense. The keys are not mere objects. They are mysterious and powerful magical vessels. They allow the guardians to harness more magical power than regular mages. Because of this, the keys will be sought out by many others. Guardians, mages, Umbra. If you are a true guardian, you will be able to sense the key's presence. For you to become a full-fledged guardian, there is a great amount of training you must endure. It will not be easy, but it is essential for us to turn the tide in this war, and for you to return home. Are you ready to begin? He asked. Yes, the 3 of us said in turn, shivering atop the temple ruins. Hello, my name is Ella, and welcome to my channel. Here I'll be sharing with you my stories, artwork, animations. If you enjoy my content, please support me by clicking the like button, subscribing, sharing, or ringing the bell for notifications. Links to my website and social media are below. I will be releasing content in sequential order, so please check for new chapters each week.